Hello guys, welcome back. Today I want to talk about a topic I think a lot of us go through, and that topic is loneliness. My senior year of high school consisted of me getting high pretty much every single day. I had a dab pen, so it was very easy for me to. I was very isolated. You know when you have friends, but you don't have those friends that you can really talk to, and you don't have it's like you feel a disconnect. That's kind of how I felt because I lived in a very different world. Even though I felt like my friends were nice to me, I still could not relate to a lot of things that they went through. And so it was a very isolating experience. And then when I went to college, oh my goodness. So I went to a party school, and I came from a background where it was, my mom was, she wasn't extremely strict, but she was still strict, you know, just typical foreigner parents. There was a lot of pressure on me in high school to just be perfect and do well and do all this stuff. And when I went to college, I was like, yeah, I got all this freedom. And so I'd be in these states when I was just drinking a lot, and I was like, afterwards, like we'd come back from a party and I'd just start crying, and I'd be really sad. And I was like, why am I doing this, you know? And so that's when I kind of felt a tugging on my spirit, and that was God who was kind of mentoring me. And he was just, well, I say we because he's very much alive. We were just talking to each other through my notebooks, and he was like, I have a better remedy than smoking and drinking to fill that gap of loneliness, and it does work. I want to go into some teachings. I think a lot of people forget that people in the Bible are pretty much writing down their experiences with God. So there are a lot of verses about loneliness, depression, rejection, pretty much anything that one can go through. So since we're talking about loneliness, I'd like to talk about Isaiah 49:16, which says, "See, I have inscribed you on the palms of my hand." I have inscribed you on the palms of my hand. Let's really dive into that. God will never, ever forget us. He literally has inscribed our names in the palm of his hands. He's the kind of God that no matter who you are, no matter what your past is, no matter what you've gone through, he's a father that will just carry you and nurture you. And literally think about it as like you're a 3-year-old little child, and you're running up to your dad, and he just picks you up and he gives you the biggest hug. That is literally God, right? And I think that's pretty amazing. Okay, next I'm going to talk about James 4:8. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. I know in my situations where I have been really sad, and I've turned to worldly things to try to cover that sadness or hide that sadness, I drew near to God, and he drew near to me. I am a living testimony of that statement, as my life has completely changed. Completely changed. I drew near to God, and he's changed my life completely. This is one thing too. Things that I used to always turn to, God literally does not, he literally drew those things away from my mind. So I don't even think about half of the things that I used to do back then. And one day I'll share my full story. Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who labor and are heavily laden, and I will give you rest. This is a big one because there's a lot of people who, and I was one of them, who are just so stressed out. So stressed out about work, about school, about all these things that we gotta get done. And God just says, come to me, come to me, come to me. lay your head on my shoulder. Y'all know that Palanaka song? Put your head on my shoulder. I just said shoulder, you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean. That song. Put your head on my shoulder. And if you don't know that song, it's a really good song, so go check it out. That's literally God. Like, if you put your head on his shoulder, like this, just like that, he literally would just be like, hey, you know? And he will give you so much peace. Even in situations where you don't think, like when your world just seems like it's tumbling down, he'll give you so much peace, so much peace. There's a lot of situations where I would just freak out, and now I'm like, I ain't got no worries. I ain't got no worries. Because, is that a Lil Wayne song? Yeah, I think it is. But I literally have no worries. Really, I really don't. Of course, you know, sometimes I do, but I just mostly have peace. Mostly peace and serenity. And yeah. So, I did go through a phase of when I was inside of God, like really into him, really into God, but then I kind of stepped back and I was still partying and everything. And you know, what I've learned about Jesus Christ is that when you find him, when you love him, you feel bad doing the things that you do, like the wrong things that you know you're not supposed to do. You feel bad doing that because you know that you're breaking his heart, rather than like when I was in a religious kind of background, like it felt like, but why I could still do this, like I could still do this and still find God, you know? But like when someone loves you so much, think about it as a relationship. When someone loves you so much, like, wouldn't you not want to hurt that person? You know, that's kind of the way I felt. And for me, the way that I would be so nervous, like when I would drink and then like go back to Christ, but then I'm like, there's something, and Jesus Christ, there's someone out there that knows my beginning and my end, even before I was even born, even before I was even conceived, knew every single thing that I was gonna do, knew that I would be passed out drunk one Saturday night when I was 19 years old, and still decided to put me on this earth, and still decided to love me unconditionally, and still decided for me to get to know him, and still decide for us to grow together. That's what it is. And he still loves me, and he still wants me, and he's still like, Faith, come back to me. Faith, come back to me. No, Faith, don't do that because that's going to break your heart. No, Faith, don't do that because, you know, I know the end of it. And even while I was still, there were days where I would go back and I'll be like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be completely real. There's no shame in my game. There were days where I would go out and I was like, so out of it, and I literally come back and I literally just start journaling and start reading the Bible, and I still felt the presence of God. That's how badly like he wants us to connect. Like, what other love do you know that does not condemn you or judge you like that, even though that kind of goes against like what he wants for us to do? And he still is like, okay, come to me while I'm in that state. Like, I think that's the most unjudgmental God ever, and that's the kind of God that I serve. And I want to introduce that God to you because I was so lonely, you guys. Like, and I know there's a lot of people that feel that way, like no hope. Like for me, it was like, okay, I come back from school, I'm gonna get my dab pen, and I'm just gonna escape. It was like escaping my mind every single day because I never could just sit alone and be by myself. If I wasn't escaping with my dab pen, I was escaping with drinking. If I wasn't escaping with drinking, I was escaping with trying to get in relationships, and I would feel so sad, like so depressed. Even with school, I would try to find ways to occupy my mind with school, and it still wasn't good enough. I'm pretty much an A student, and even when I would set my mind to like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on school, I'm gonna focus on school and achieve what I need to achieve, I still felt really empty. And that is something that now that I have Christ in my life, that he's really helped me with. He's really, really helped me with. I'm not gonna say that there's some times where I don't feel stressed or I don't feel sad, but I don't run to other things. I don't run to worldly things. When I feel those way, I run to Christ, and literally he just feels that. And if you guys want to start somewhere, you guys, I'm telling you, I recommend journaling. Don't look at my notes. But I recommend journaling. You can literally be like, dear God, today is this is how I feel. And what you can do is, if you don't have one of these, it's a handy dandy Bible. If you don't have one of them, go ahead and get the Bible app on your phone. And just literally, you guys, like, tell him how you feel. And I'm telling you, he will talk to you. Like, sometimes I've noticed like, his voice is very quiet, but he will talk to you and he will tell you what to do, or even just sit there with you. If you're just lonely, if you're by yourself, or you feel by yourself, like, he'll just sit there with you and he'll be like, hey, like, I'm here. And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to have somebody infinite that's always there for them? Okay, so that is all for this video. I hope this reaches whoever it is supposed to reach, and I love you guys so much. And Jesus loves you so, so, so much. And you guys are not alone, okay? You're never alone. You always have somebody with you. Even though you cannot physically see him, he is walking right beside you, and he loves you with all of his heart. You only have to know him. That is all you have to do. And I hope you guys have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you are. You are so loved.